Okay, good afternoon everyone and welcome to nichebot's live call-in show. Now this is the place where you get the intervention you need to blow past the obstacles that stand in your way. What does that mean? Well, unfortunately, we sometimes get intervened by our own mind and our own stuckedness, if you might. We get stuck somewhere in between. Something doesn't make sense. We don't know what the next step is, and I'm here to clear all the clutter and help you move forward in the most extremely efficient manner possible. And this is really the place where you get real help you deserve on whatever topic you need, not just keyword research. So let's move on forward. I am your host and founder of nichebot since 2004. I've been doing this for quite some time now. I realize, and I have seen from answering my own self thousands and thousands of help tickets, the confusion some people have. Unfortunately, a lot of people get education from other people that may not necessarily be correct, and so I'm here to help correct and move you on and remove some of that confusion. Now, real quickly, let me also share why I created the show for gold and platinum users. And one of the things is, I do this all the time, and I think a lot of men do this. Is we end up getting a product, and we just forget about reading the manual. Heck with it. Let's just start toying with this thing. And unfortunately, there is some knowledge that needs to be acquired for you to do keyword research efficiently and effectively. The other thing is that content here is customized towards you every week and not just thrown at you so that you've got more things to have to consider. So you do need to get engaged. You need to ask questions. You need to put yourself out there. And I know that may be scary for some people, but quicker you overcome that fear, the quicker you're going to start making progress in your own online business and building your own presence online. And that's what it's really about here online, is whatever niche topic you're in, you want to build a presence. You want to build a place that people know who you are. Now, this show is about getting clarity and having breakthroughs. It's not about being stagnant or sitting there in confusion or just sitting there and evaluating the landscape. Evaluating the landscape will only do one thing, and that's going to keep you stagnant and not actually doing the steps that are important to start building traffic, towards start building an online presence. Now, breakthroughs come with repeated exposure to using techniques that work. Now, doing keyword research is one technique, and then doing website promotion is doing various other things using website promotion is another technique. Based on the techniques that you use and the effectiveness of them is how you're going to make progress. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't do enough they don't have enough for repeated exposure before they end up quitting and saying this stuff doesn't work. Well, it does. A lot of stuff out there works for people, but they don't talk about the fact that it took them hundreds of hours to be able to master it. And there will be a replay of this show from the live show directory at nichebot.com/live show. In fact, we're producing right now last week's live show, and it should be up later on today, tonight I should say. And now, I think you should share in my epiphany. And I know that for people that are repeatedly coming back to this show, they hear this intro all the time. And one of the things that's important is sometimes you need, just like you need to be exposed to techniques that work repeatedly over and over, it's important to listen to what I'm talking about every week, because I do put a different spin on this introduction all the time. I try to make it different, fresh, and alive, but mainly the message is the same. My epiphany came in 2004. If you are trying to build organic traffic, my epiphany came in 2004 when I realized that, one, I was tired of trying to use pay-per-click because it wasn't working for me, and my advertising writing skills, my ability to write effective ads was not as good as I thought, and it was just too confusing to use the Google AdWords system. So I decided to focus on organic traffic. But it wasn't until 2004 when I discovered the power of getting backlinks, and that is using the keyword phrase in your hyperlink on sites outside your site that point in towards your site. Now here's what a backlink looks like. And this is how you create an actual link to your site. And you see here, you put the site.com name, you can use the www in front of that, but this could be an internal page. I just shortened this so it would fit all in one line. But the important part is putting the keyword phrase here, because whenever a search engine crawls a link, and that's how search engines end up finding new pages, is they jump from link to link to link to link. Well, what happens when they jump from link to link is they read that keyword phrase that is usually on a page. You don't see it like this, but it's usually underlined and highlighted in blue, which is a hyperlink, right? That keyword phrase tells the search engine what the page that it's going to is about, this site URL, okay? And that is very important, because a lot of people unfortunately use the word click here, or they use their company name in the keyword phrase. And you want to get used to using the keyword phrases that you want your pages to relate to, as well as the backlinks you're trying to get to your site. And if you're not getting backlinks, you need to work on that as a technique. Now, I used reciprocal linking to get backlinks to nichebot and other sites back in 2004. I've changed my techniques over time. You know, you can still do reciprocal linking. It does work, regardless of what the pundits say out there. However, the landscape has changed a little bit, and getting backlinks to your site can be done other ways, through article directories, press release submissions, doing blog commenting, forum commenting. So there's a number of different ways, web directory submissions. So there are a number of different inbound links, way to get inbound links to your site to get your search engine rankings up high. Now, you should find whatever style of inbound links works for you, and getting inbound links, I'm going to say this, always trumps content on your page. Now, what does that mean? You can tweak your content on your web pages to try and get as many points possible. You know, say there's a possible of 100 points that you can get credited to you from the search engines for a specific page. But once you reach that maximum of 100 points, you can't get 102 or 105. The only way to get more points or more power to a web page is by getting inbound links. Now, you can find, there was a couple of articles that you can find on Google. Just type "How to Build Links 2009" into Google for additional ways to get backlinks. There's a number of articles you can refer to, and there's so many different techniques, but I want you to find one technique, and I want you to master it, and then move on to another technique. And that's the way you got to do it, because if you're trying to do too many things at once, you're going to get confused, and you're not going to actually master one technique. Now, as I've said, this show is about getting clarity and having breakthroughs. That means getting involved in your success. So let's go over the ground rules for this live show. Everyone right now is muted on the line, and you can ask a question anytime during this webinar through your panel over to the right-hand side. You can type your question in, raise your hand, and if you would like to have a live chat, I have no problem doing that. This is a live show, and I'm here to intervene. That's one of the ways that I can do this, is through having live chat here on this live webinar. And that's one of the reasons I did it, because just having a webinar where I'm just one-sided speaking to you doesn't necessarily answer all of your questions. So if you have a question and you want to have a live chat, just put live chat in front of the question if you want to interact. I'm going to go anywhere from about 60 to 90 minutes. However, I do have a show right after this, which I do have to cut short at about the 60 minutes, so I'm not going to be able to go the full 90 minutes. If there are no questions or my energy runs a little bit low, obviously we will end the show then. So let's go ahead and have some live interaction. Go ahead and submit your questions now, and we'll go ahead and take all your questions in the order that they're received. So go ahead and enter your questions right now, and we'll go ahead and take those questions, and as many questions as you have, we'll go ahead and take them. So looks like we've got a question that has come in. Okay, so the first question we have from Lewis is on the SEO stress test. There are color codes, and he wants me to explain the color codes on the SEO stress test. So let's go ahead, and why don't we go ahead and run a stress test on a particular, I'm going to open up Internet Explorer and do this. So I'm going to run a stress test, and if you missed last week's show, I did go over what the colors mean, and apparently I had put in a request to my technical team to make sure and have an explanation about the colors. So there should be a legend that will come up that should be available there. If it's not there now, we're going to go ahead and explain that right now live on the show. So if you have a stress test, now as I was explaining to Lewis on the line last week, if we go into one of my searches here, we can go and check out one of the more recent Google keyword searches I did here. Whoops, that doesn't change my folder. All right, so I've got 100 keywords here. Now, as you'll notice here, we have keywords that have to do with tool, and you'll see it comes up. We got toolboxes with reels, removal tool. This is just an example that I've got. And over here, we had a discussion last week about the KEI and what that relates to. Is this an effective number to look at? And as I was explaining to Lewis, who asked the question today, what KEI is a formula that has to do with the search count here, and then also has to do with the competition. So it only takes a look at the difference or dividing, I believe the formula is the popularity, which is the search count, squared divided by the competition. That's what brings the KEI. And it's a really surface level, formula of trying to find low competition keywords, and that's what the KEI is for. However, as I was explaining to Lewis last week, if we really truly want to have a true analysis of a keyword, we should do a stress test to see other factors. So let's just say we're using removal tool as the keyword. That's one of the top keywords here with top search count. And we'll just use removal tool as our search. And we're going to do that search, and that's going to run for just a quick second, and it'll take a little bit of time because it's gathering so much information, as you'll soon see on the screen. And I'm going to take a quick break real quick to get myself my water, which is just outside the door, and I will be right back. So hang tight, and this is running right now, so as soon as I come back, it should pretty much be done running. I'll be right back. All right, as we can see, we've got all the information back. And as we figure, a removal tool is obviously something that's going to remove something along the lines of, it's going to remove something along the lines of a virus or something like that. And as you can see, the top sites are mainly like Microsoft, Symantec, Microsoft, Software, SRL, Bitdefender, which is another removal tool, AVG Technologies, AVG, and Symantec. So now what this tool allows us to do is it gets the top sites that are in a cross between Google and Yahoo, and it lists those top 10 sites here. And if we wanted to get more results, we could right here. And so let's go through the color-codedness of this. Okay, so one of the things is in these different fields we have different thresholds that bring about different colors. And if you might, the gold color tends to resemble right, golden keywords. If we see a lot more gold on this page, we're going to find that it's going to be easier to rank for a particular keyword. Now, once we start seeing the blue, the light blue, the keyword is getting a little bit more ice cold. Okay, so if you think of blue and ice, and it's a little bit chillier, that's what that code means. So it's sort of like, yeah, you may want to consider not doing this particular keyword, not just doing a web page for it. If you're planning on getting backlinks and doing more promotion to a specific page, like going out and building some free blogs and other things that are going to support the web page that you're going to create for a keyword phrase like, say, removal tool, which I wouldn't suspect you should, then maybe you might consider it. Don't be discouraged by a keyword just because it's difficult. It's going to take a little bit more time than just a low competition keyword is, but as we can see, we see a lot of this purple on the page, okay? And a lot of purple means that this is a bruiser keyword, and it's going to take some heavy website promotion, because one of the things we want to really look at are these three columns right here, the backlinks to the page, okay? As we can see, right here are these are the three fields right here. We have the number of index page backlinks, or the number of index page backlinks outside the domain, because we have to realize that some of the backlinks that the search engines count are actually backlinks pointing from other pages on the same site. And then, of course, we have the total number of index domain backlinks to the entire domain. Okay, so these are three different gauges, and these three columns here are probably the most important of all the pages. Now, we'll go over these pages again, these other criteria here, but let's go over these pages. Now, if we look at this top page, it has 2,110 backlinks to one specific page, which is this web page right here. So that means that other sites have 2,110 other web pages or websites have linked to this particular page. So it's going to take a lot of backlinks to that one page for you to overtake this top #1 position in Google, Yahoo, etc. Hope that makes sense. So as we're looking at these three columns, we see a lot of purple, which means this is a bruiser of a keyword to be able to rank in the top 10. So it's something we might consider not doing. Even though we might see the KEI being highly, pretty high, we may say, this is, after doing an SEO stress test, these three columns, when they show all this purple, you may not want to consider it. Now, once you see gold, you know, that's going to mean if you see gold in these three columns, then that's going to be probably a little bit easier to get a ranking in Google, Yahoo, etc., without having to do much extra website promotion for that page. But when you see blue, that means it's getting a little bit more ice cold, and when you see a lot of purple, that means that you are definitely going to have a more difficult time ranking for this keyword. So hopefully that explains the question about the color codes on the page and how that works. I do see that there are a couple of other questions that have come in the meantime. So if you have any follow-up questions to this SEO stress test page, please let me know. Let me just cover actually another couple of very other important factors that the search engines take into consideration. One of those is this age. Okay, how long has a domain been registered, or how long has it been alive? As we can see, there are some sites that are brand new within the first year here. Okay, that's usually a pretty good sign. However, if we look over here at what the web page is, it looks like it's a subdomain on Symantec.com. So we can't necessarily say that this is a brand new domain, because if Symantec.com, we could see here, is 17 years old. Okay, and that means that the domain itself has been alive for 17 years. And if we see all of these sites have 3 to 5 to 7 years of web age, then it's probably, if you have a brand new domain, it's probably going to be pretty tough to get ranked in the top 10 for whatever the keyword phrase you're doing a SEO stress test on. Now, if you find, like, see here, we got one domain here, bdtools.net. As we can see, this site has been only alive for a year and a half only, and it's gotten into the top 10. Now, if we take a look at it, it's got a bunch of backlinks to the page comparable to the one here at the top. And that's probably one of the ranking factors of why it's at the top for removal tool. So another serious factor is obviously age. When you're looking at the age, and most of the domains on there are 3, 5, 7, 10 years old, it's going to tell you that your domain should have a little bit of age involved. Another factor here is the Google PageRank. Okay, if you're trying to get into Google and you see that most of the sites here have a PageRank of 5 or 6 or 7, that's going to tell you that you're going to need to work pretty hard to get some reputation in Google to be able to rank high for a particular keyword phrase. Now, we've chose a pretty difficult keyword phrase, which is a 2-word combination. And really, if you're a beginner just starting out, you're going to want to go for 3- and 4-word combinations, if not 5-word combinations. It doesn't matter that there's low traffic on those keywords, because here's the thing. If you get 1,000 visitors a day for removal tool, and you lose that position, that means you lose 1,000 visitors a day. But if you have 1,000 keywords, or let's just say you have 500 keywords, low competition keywords, where you're getting 2 visitors a day, and you only lose 1 position, that means you only lose 2 visitors. You see, you want to be able to get listed for those low competition keywords and build pages on those low competition keywords so that you get multiple. So you don't lose all your traffic and base your whole traffic on just one keyword, one popular keyword. The other thing that's important to realize is the longer the keyword is, the more specific the search is, and that means more people will be buying on the longer keywords than they will be buying on a tool, search like, say, removal tool, because removal tool is really a beginning search. Someone's just starting out in the research phase of their quest. And once they start realizing and finding out what the removal tools are, they're going to start doing different searches. The longer the search, the more specific it is, the more likely someone's going to buy something based on those searches, not this original search. Okay, hopefully I made that clear, and that's the difference between using research phrases and using buying keyword phrases. So let's go now to the other questions that have come in and see what else is going on. Now, does no follow mean anything anymore? When I log into Google Webmaster account and check my links, I find that Google credits me with no follow links from popular blogs. Well, no follow means that there is an attribute that is a no follow. You're not necessarily going to get credit. And if you are inside of Google Webmaster and you're getting credited with backlinks, now let me show you how. For everyone else on the line, let's go ahead and do a search for and show you how to get your backlinks for your site. So you're going to type in link:/http www.yahoo.com, and that will show how many backlinks there are. And as you can see, there are about 5,780 backlinks. Now, some of those links, most of these links are going to be counted and some aren't. Now, no follow means that Google will not follow that link or give you credit for it, but the interesting thing is you should be going after no follow links as well. A lot of people do blog commenting on blogs and they stay away from no follow comment blogs, and what that all that means is there's an attribute on a blog that makes, let's go take a look at, maybe I think there's some no follow links on the nichebot blog, and let's go take a look at what that means. So let's go take a look at something here. Okay, here are some comments, and these are the outgoing links right here. And let's take a look at Jim Simcox, and let's see if there is a no follow tag. So usually when you're doing blog commenting, you'll find you're able to put a link in here, and most often or not, that link will be a no follow on certain blogs. Some do offer a do follow, which means there's no follow tag. So let's take a look at what that means, and we're going to reveal the source on this page, and I'm going to search for no follow, and it doesn't look like, let's see, okay, we're going to search for, what was the page? Jim Simcox, okay. Okay, so as we can see here, the link that's created for Jim right here, this is the link right here. As we can see, there is what's called a rel tag put here that says no follow. That's telling Google not to follow this link. But in my opinion, Google does follow these links, and they do give you credit in the background, even though they may not say they do. But it sounds like for, let's see who is asking the question, Jeff Bass on the line is asking and saying that when he logs into his Google Webmaster account and checks his link, he is finding that Google is actually giving him credit for the no follow links. And this is proof positive that I believe these links do count in some sort of a way, even though we are told that no follow links don't count as a backlink to your site. This is why, number one reason you want to even comment on no follow backlinks sites as well. A lot of people just use certain tools out there, like I use this particular tool, Fast Blog Finder. This allows you to find do follow blogs that you can comment on. Okay, but I think it's also important to find blogs that have no follows and comment there as well, because as we can see, Jeff has reported here that Google is reporting backlinks to sites that are no follow. So I think this is a very important thing to take into consideration when you're doing blog commenting. Blog commenting is really one of the best ways to gain publicity to your site, become well known in your industry by constantly showing up on people's blogs, and so people are visibly noticing your comments. And of course, when you make a comment, you want to make sure it's a valuable comment that other people are going to respond to favorably. So hopefully that answers your question. I think it's important, like you say, Google is now showing that stuff, it's showing the popular blogs and links that you're getting back. So that is kind of proof positive that Google is taking no follow links into credit. You may not get a lot of credit for them, but you should also go after those do follow links where people are not using the no follow tag. And as you can see, I think we showed it right here, that this particular link right here is a no follow link that Jim Simcox is trying to get to his over to his Twitter page. And that's usually a good place to have a good place to send people is to your Twitter page. They'll follow you there. It's a little bit more personal rather than sending them to the home page of your site. We've got another question that has come in, and another question from Lewis. Please explain DMOZ. We'll definitely, I should have something up within the next 24 to 48 hours, Lewis, about the email legend, and we'll definitely be in contact about that. Now, we've got a couple of questions in the queue, but one is, please explain dmoz.org. Now, one of the things is DMOZ is an old directory of sites, and as you can see, they've been basically, it's a human edited directory. Now, this is what's known as a web directory, and a web directory is something that is available for people to list their websites in, and there's hundreds, even thousands of free web directories, and this is a free web directory. However, it's going to take some time to get into a web directory like DMOZ, because it's a human edited one, and they want to make sure that there's quality content put into it. So one of the things here to notice, for one, DMOZ is a highly regarded directory by Google. Google highly respects this site, and for most directories, they do not get a page rank as high as this site. It's got a page rank 8 if you go check it. But as you can see, basically it's a simple directory that's based on top-level categories. Now, these are top-level categories. Okay, arts, business, computers, health, home. All these are top-level categories. The secondary ones underneath right here, these are secondary level categories. Okay, so it's what obviously DMOZ thinks is the second level categories, and this is kind of how the way we want to organize the information on our site. So if you have, say, a computer site on software, you want to organize your information according to, take a look at the structure of these of how DMOZ is laid out. You can see computers, software. This is the secondary level, and as you can see, the second subdirectory, the second subsection of topics here is freeware, open source, and shareware. Okay, and then the next level down are these, and then the secondary level, the third level down here are these, because the deeper we go into these categories, the more specific we get. Okay, so if we have computers, software, and say we have a graphic software program, we want to go into this specific page. So this is showing us how we should even, this directory is even how we should organize our information. You want to organize your information from general to specific to graphics. Now see all the different categories in here. These are the different categories of graphic software, animation, color management, color pickers, converters. And this is a sort of, like I was saying, a way that you want to also think about organizing your own information as well. So you're going to have, so if you have, say, a graphic software site, you want to be able to start with, graphic software, and then put, have on the page different the different types of graphic software that there is, and then have a second level of information. So you're basically building a hierarchy of information on your site, similar to the way that this directory is organized. So it's going to go from general to specific and then more specific. Hope that makes sense. Now, one of the other things that this directory is really, really good for is it's a great resource to uncover like chats and forums and other sites that you may want to do partnering with for programming or vector-based types graphic software. Or it's a great place to do some research, because these sites are highly regarded and they were basically taken into DMOZ and accepted into the site and as quality content. So these sites are highly regarded. They've submitted their site. They've been approved after a human has actually reviewed the site. So it does take some time to get into this. Sometimes it can take 3 to 6 months to get into this directory. And if you have a site that's an informational type site, you may want to submit your site into this directory. You can just go ahead and you can, let's see, let's go to the front of the site. I guess you can suggest a URL. Maybe they're not taking any more listings, but there should be, there are, see, here's the procedure for submitting your site. Okay, so determine whether a site is appropriate, and this is how to suggest a site, one of your own. Actually, this is the place how to submit your site, and it goes through all the different qualifications you need to meet in order to be listed in this directory. Now, once you get a link from this directory, it's a highly powerful link because, like I said, this is a highly regarded directory by Google, and once you get in here, your link stays permanently in there. And in fact, I believe this is, as you can see, one of the qualifications in here, whether a site gets submitted, and this checks whether or not a site is actually in the DMOZ directory. If you see yeses all the way through here, that means that it's probably going to be a little bit even more difficult to get ranked for a specific keyword. So hopefully that answered your question on that. And we're getting close to about 15 minutes. There's one other question I see here in the queue. What do you think about keywords and quotes? Now, keywords and quotes are fine. I don't think that a lot of people say, should I go after keywords and quotes? Well, not really. And the fact is that most people on the net do not search like this. Okay? they search without the mass public searches for tools like this, okay, internet security, okay. They don't search with quotes. I do search with quotes, but I'm one of the more advanced. I would say I'm probably one of the more advanced search users. I even use things like, you know, minus 2009 or minus Norton. That says don't give me sites or pages that have to do with the word Norton in them, and that basically is a way to negate any search queries or filter things out. A lot of people do not search that way regularly on Google. So as far as going after keywords with quotes, you really shouldn't worry about that. You should just worry about going after more generic terms without quotes. Hopefully that makes sense. The other thing is when you're looking at keywords here in nichebot, the competition level, see here 87, that is looking for all the keywords not with quotes on Google, but we're actually looking at the competition, the in-title competition with quotes around it, and that shows us how many actual pages there are that have this keyword in the title tag. You see all these have the keyword in the title tag, removal tool Norton, removal tool Norton. So when we're doing when you see the competition on nichebot, you are looking at the actual number of web pages that are truly competing for that keyword. And on that note, we're going to have to close out because I'm getting close to the 4 o'clock hour, and we've got another show coming up. If you have any questions for our next show, please go ahead and hold them until next week. Get ready to submit them for next week, and we'll go ahead and make sure to answer them accordingly. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up the closing here, and we're going to close out the show. Don't forget to check tonight in the live show directory for last week's show, and we'll also be getting up tomorrow's replay, today's replay tomorrow sometime later on in the evening. Now you want to tune in here every weekday, Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for your breakthrough. In order to get clarity, you want to tune in to overcome your obstacles and start having more breakthroughs. You really do deserve it. There's no reason to be standing in the dark. Review the Quick Start Guide for some proper foundation and materials, some extra information that takes you through kind of the things, some really condensed information that I've collected over the last few years. And you want to incorporate one way of building backlinks to your site. That's really, really important. Building backlinks to your site builds authority, and it builds search engine power, getting you up to the top of your preferred keyword phrases. Jot down your questions and save them for the show. Very, very important. If you have a question, you're stuck, go ahead and write it down. Have a little list of questions that you have that you can ask each and every week. Decide whether you're going to wish to share the URL with the group, because this is a public show, a public gathering. If you want to share your URL and you want to go over and audit your site, we can do that on the show, so we can show you how to improve the effectiveness of your site and explain your situation in detail with specifics so I can truly envision your problem. If you're just asking general questions, I can only give you general answers. The more information you give in return, the more clarity I can give you back in return, and that's really all I'm here to do, is to help you move forward and make progress. On that note, I want to thank you for showing up for your success, and we'll make sure to see you back here next week, and make sure to have a great, empowering rest of the week. And of course, a nice, relaxing weekend. And if you're working, then just make sure to relax while you're working. We'll see you back here next week. Take care, everyone, and talk to you next week.